So 2K and Firaxis has given me an exclusive look into Rising Tide, the upcoming expansion for Beyond Earth, and I will say there's a lot of new mechanics to take in. So we're going to jump right into this now. I want to mention that this is post-commentary, so, you know, I'm going to be talking about some of the things that I learned, as well as some of the things that were going through my head as I'm discovering new mechanics and stuff like that. I decided to kind of play a lot of the game by myself, just to kind of get an overall feel of kind of the new gameplay features and stuff like that. As you can see, the loadout is almost the same, except for, as you can see, I'm playing as one of the new civilizations to Rising Tide. And I'm going to go with a map type that's going to provide a lot of water, because that is a big feature of Rising Tide, as well as me playing on one of the new biomes, the primordial biomes. So I'm going to go ahead and skip straight into my starting position here. As I mentioned, there are two new additional civilizations that so far have been announced in Rising Tide, the new expansion, but there's also a secret, other two. There's going to be 4 total. So I'm playing as one right now. We have the North Sea Alliance, who has a lot of bonuses for their ocean cities, which is a really interesting mechanic to Rising Tide. I'm very excited to see the possibilities here. You might have seen that some of the features, well, the loadout is about the same, and to be honest, I was curious about that. I figured that was gonna be one of the first things that, you know, Firaxis would have changed, is the loadout. And then I briefly look over some of the options, because I realized, wait a second, I should probably turn on the animations. I'm not gonna do that to you guys for a brand new expansion. No way. I'm not gonna turn off the animations, because I enjoy it. I enjoy seeing the battles and stuff like that. So yeah, I was interested to see, you know, why were the loadouts the same? I swear I thought that'd be one of the first things that Firaxis would change up. But it actually makes a lot of sense. And here's the tech tree, and I'll get into why it makes sense a little bit later, but the tech tree looks beautiful. I had a huge grin on my face when I saw that the tech web, I shouldn't be calling it a tree, the tech web looks so colorful, everything looks so much more, it looks so much more clear. You can distinguish between the units, the wonders, the affinities. I mean, it's gonna make things a lot easier of a time. You're not squinting and looking at just a bunch of you know, similar color tones of gray. I think it's a lot easier to get the tech web. I think there's still going to be a lot of practices. I'm not saying that it's still going to be confusing exactly, you know, how you decide to go in the tech web, and I think that's one of the very positive things that BE has going for it, is that, you know, the tech web is always, it can be, you know, varied in a lot of different styles, where Civ 5 is, you know, obviously you have to go down that tree. You've got to go straight down that tree no matter what. So yes, as you can see, I just picked up a Manticore. I think it's because of this expedition. Now, expeditions are about the same, but as I was saying, that yeah, the tech web looks absolutely beautiful, and I literally had just a huge grin on my face as soon as I saw that sort of thing. So I have a Virtue coming up, and that one thing that I did ask a couple of the developers there had the Virtue system changed. So at this point, I was happy about the tech web. Very happy about the tech web. Then I was like, why isn't the loadout changed? And then I saw the virtues hadn't changed either. I mean, besides some balancing, there's obviously going to be balancing. And I went prosperity because I wanted to make sure that I didn't have any health problems. I wanted to be kind of play very wide in this campaign. So then I was like, okay, the virtues haven't been changed. I'm wondering, where are these changes coming from? I'm gonna get into it. Unfortunately, I can't get into it with this video because there's really not that much diplomatically that occurs, because it's video 1, and diplomacy in all kind of the Civilization series gets more and more complicated as the series goes on. But they've put so much into this diplomacy mechanic, and I'm gonna briefly look over it as more and more civilizations land on this planet. As you can see, I'm exploring right now, and exploration is very, very important. But yeah, I mean, I can't wait to get into diplomacy. That is a feature that I so wish this has been a part of the Civ series since the very beginning. As you can see, I'm taking down the yield because I'm still kind of trying to remember some of the resources on the planet and what type of yield each one of them provide. I'm going to turn those off and turn on the icon so that we can all see. So yes, you will probably start to notice, if you're used to base game BE, there are a lot of new resources out in the sea, as well as there's new textures out there in the ocean. I think the oceans look beautiful. I got very lucky here with another virtue. That was pretty nice. Again, I am trying to be as wide as possible. I think prosperity is a good choice to go with. As you can see, there is there's an alien, I think, oh man, I'm blanking on the name here. I just scrolled over it. I believe it's a hydrocoral. And these aliens do not move, and they're going to be almost like impassable terrains. They're living, they're breathing creatures of this planet, and it's going to be it's cool because, you know, you can't just walk around anywhere with these guys. These guys are going to be blocking off some paths, and they're going to make navigation through the oceans a lot more complicated, where they're going to act almost like movable mountains, I want to say, kind of like that. I mean, they're living and they do fight back, but you know, you can't just have open terrain. You can't just have completely open, like, ocean terrain, because this is such a big feature of Beyond Earth, and water and you know, ocean gameplay is such a big feature. I thought this was a very smart mechanic to kind of introduce the fact that you're not going to be able to just kind of swim around anywhere you want. There will be things blocking your path besides just terrain and land and stuff like that. There are also going to be these alien type units, and these guys are going to grow. They have all sorts of, as you can see, there's big ones in the north, there's a small one in the north east, as well as there's another one in the north, the southwest there. As you can see, I usually go down ecology because that's kind of my favorite. I know that that's always been a traditional technology that I like to do, and I'm just kind of trying to remember exactly if there's been any major changes. Now, I should say that this is obviously pre-release, so there will be a lot of balancing. You might see, maybe, you know, if you watch the video close enough, you might see a little bit of certain strategies you might be able to go for. I certainly didn't in the amount of hours that I had with the game. I couldn't figure out like a clear strategy, but balance changes will be continued to be made as they get more and more into discovering how all these new mechanics work together and stuff like that. So there's a brain here. As you can see, there's like this weird looking alien brain. So that, I believe is part of this new Marvel system. So the Marvel system, when they introduced this idea to me, almost sounded exactly like Natural Wonders from Civ 5, and that's not really the case. These Marvels, they're just like, they work like Natural Wonders, but except there's going to be a guaranteed one Marvel in every single biome, and it might be an ocean Marvel, or it could be one of the four, or I guess one of the unique biome Marvels. So each biome is given a unique Marvel. And so that's pretty cool, and they're all going to give you different missions. So I figured, you know, whatever, like, you know, we're used to this sort of stuff. You slap down a city, you're going to get extra yield or whatever it is. No, that is not the case. And that brain, by the way, is not the Marvel itself that I'm talking about. You're going to tell when you see this huge feature. It's like 3 tiles long. It's pretty crazy. It's very obvious when you're seeing this Marvel. So what it is, it's going to send you out on a quest system, and the quest system has been fully kind of updated and made a little bit more exciting, because before it was very much the same quests over and over again, where you might see some of the same quests that you're used to, but at the same time, every single game is going to provide you with different opportunities. And as you can see, I'm going to settle my first colony out here in the ocean, because I figured I wanted to explore this mechanic a little bit. So yeah, these Marvels, when you discover them, they're going to lead you on quests, and it's something that everyone can do. It's not exclusive to the player that finds the Marvels. Everyone is going to be able to complete this quest and get a huge bonus to their empire. So I've noticed, the one thing that I did pick up on Rising Tide BE now is that it is so crucial to explore. You cannot just sit here and do nothing. It's so important to explore, find these Marvels, find, you know, as you can see, resource pods and expeditions, because there's this whole new mechanic of artifacts out here in the ocean, which are going to provide all sorts of new bonuses, and I'm going to get into that now. This is something strange happens here. I remember landing a city, and then those big aliens just kind of vanished. I don't think that's supposed to be part of the game. Again, this is a bug, or that's not a bug, but it's like a, I'm not sure what it is, but we'll see a few of those. Those are not going to be in-game. Trust me, those are things that I asked them, and it might just something that kind of popped up. I've got a worker here working some stuff. So yeah, these Marvels are going to be able to provide everyone these bonuses, these one-time bonuses to your empire. So it's extremely important that the faster you get it, the faster you can get these bonuses integrated into your nation. So that's why exploration is so important. And good, we finally got into diplomacy. I don't think I dive into it too much because there are only 2 other civs here, but as you can see, there are 3 new affinities, and they're hybrid affinities. So we have, obviously, supremacy, purity, and supremacy, purity, and harmony. Then there's going to be these in-betweens, whereas you kind of had to focus on just one in base BE. It's not like that anymore. You can kind of do a hybrid, and this is something I absolutely love. So if you notice here, this is you can enhance your unique ability. So the civ that I'm playing right now gets an extra city process. They get extra production, extra production when doing city processes. And city processes are like when you decide to use your production to increase the amount of of culture or science or whatever it may be, gold, I guess energy in this game. So yeah, upgrading your unique ability is really, really important. As you can see, I'm also going over a new respect and fear mechanic. There are all new relationships, and I don't get to jump into too much, but it's so exciting. Like, this is the one thing that I just wanted to skip to the late game and just play with diplomacy, because diplomacy is so much more in depth, and we're gonna get into that because I do dive into it as we progress through the game. As you can see, there's lots of resource pods and lots of crash sites and sorts of excavations that I can possibly do. But yeah, no, diplomacy is a very, very exciting new feature of the game. Like I was saying, the civ that I'm playing with, their unique ability is they get an increased amount of production when investing in, like this right here, social development, research development, industrial, and agricultural. So as you can see, I mean, that's a really awesome unique ability. Already at 150%, but you can upgrade that trait even more. And you can pay the diplomatic capital, which, as you can see, is the new symbol on the top there, right next to the strategic resources. If you look a little bit to the left, that big blue circle, that's diplomatic capital. And that's how you're able to kind of function everything diplomatically in this game. You need this capital, and you get that pretty early on. Here's the new artifacts screen, but I don't have any artifacts right now, so I'll look into that later. I just slapped up a satellite, so I'm getting a nice amount of energy in my 6 core tiles. But yeah, no, everything kind of functions through this diplomatic capital, and my biggest worry was that I wasn't going to have enough, because I was so enthusiastic about the new diplomacy system that I wasn't going to have enough capital to always be able to do things. But no, you get it right away, right from that old Earth relic, which normally provides you extra 2 culture. It's going to provide you also now, base game, and this is, like I said, this is a building that you can build right away, right in the very beginning of your campaign. You automatically start to generate 2 diplomatic capital. And as buildings go on, it's very easy to get a whole bunch of this stuff. So diplomacy will not be limited in any other way. Believe me, that was the big thing, that when I saw that there was an introduction of a new mechanic that was going to, almost kind of limits diplomacy, it doesn't limit diplomacy at all. You have by far more than enough points to be able to do almost whatever you want, because you're generating so much by that mid game that you can't possibly use it all. And again, like I said, I haven't even touched on this, just on the surface of some of the things that you can do in diplomacy. As you can see, there were also other traits in there, domestic, military, and can't remember the third one, but I mean, you can really gear your civ into something very specific. That's why the loadout to me wasn't as disappointing when I discovered the massive new mechanics to the diplomatic gameplay. So that's why, that loadout is just for that first, maybe 30, 40, 50 turns, where diplomacy comes into play, and specializing your civ kind of after your loadout is already gone. As you can see, we've stumbled on a few quests here. You might have seen that I picked a city-state, a specific city-state, to spawn up. Now, that's something that we've seen before, but there are plenty of new quests from BE that I haven't ever seen. As you can see, I'm taking care of this miasma. One thing that I did really, really like is the new color changes, the new textures, the new... obviously, the oceans look absolutely beautiful, but I'm talking about just land here. I think miasma, and miasma has gotten better with the updates to base BE, but now it looks... I think it looks very, very clear, and it might be because of this primordial biome, but I think that there's no more stumbling on miasma anymore and not realizing it. You might have noticed that I sent my explorer unit out there discovering some islands, and I didn't have any expeditions left, and that was something that I just was kicking myself in the head for. I really got to be more careful with that. That's something that you have to be careful with. Obviously, you can upgrade the amount of expeditions your explorer can do. Right now, I'm at 0. I think you start off with 2. By the end of this campaign, or maybe a different campaign, I was at like 4 or 5 or something like that. So it gets a lot better as you continue to move on. So we got floatstone up there, lots of resource pods. Again, this is why I'm going to continue to stress the importance of exploring. Exploring in Beyond Earth is very, very crucial. I didn't even realize there's another city-state down south. I forgot about that one. Exploring is essential now to find those marvels, and we're gonna find a very, very big brain in this biome here. Actually, it's actually not from the biome. It's because the ocean are given a biome too. There's at least 1 per campaign. You start up every single time. There's a possibility, I believe, of 2. We were given a scenario where 2 were up in the game. So again, they are pretty important that you do want to rush. As you can see, I mean, for the most part, I forget that I have diplomatic capital. I'm at 115, 120, getting 5 per turn. It's very easy to forget about it. So so when you remember, there's just so much you can do, and that's just something I need to train my brain more often to check on, because there's a lot more to do than in Civ 5. And when I stumbled upon the diplomacy system, the first thing I thought in my head was, as you can see, I'm still trying to figure out the yields. I'm generating a lot of energy from this satellite. I just wish it was in Civ 5 or previous Civ series, because you know, just to have the relationship of an alliance is so good. I think that because getting an alliance means that you can pull AIs into offensive wars. There's no longer a defensive pact that we might be used to. It's you get an alliance, and if you declare war on somebody else, those alliances are going to join in. Now, alliances are not limited to only war. There are a lot of new things that you can do. There are a lot of new agreements that I haven't even jumped into, and I don't think I even get too much into this campaign either. Agreements are like, you know, things like open borders or you know, things like that. That's a whole nother part of the game. But those bonuses, when you get an agreement, get increased when you have an alliance, or I believe kind of cooperative as well. That's one relationship below an alliance. Then you have neutral, and then you have sanction. Oh, that's so cool that you can sanction nations. That's really awesome. And then obviously you can war, but yeah, I mean, the fact that you can sanction nations is pretty cool. Now, as you can see, my colonists are starting to finish up. The aliens are pretty hardcore, and I did discover a meteorite crater. I'm gonna go inside there, and I think I forget to explore it. I go inside of it and heal, which is pretty funny. But yeah, I as you can see, I've got my city almost finishing up here, so I'm gonna go inside of it because my gunboat is down a lot in health, and I'm gonna start to heal, but I needed to explore it. I will. I'm gonna move away from that, and then I'm gonna come back to it a little bit later, which is pretty funny. So you can move land. I'm sorry, you can move ocean cities, and that's something that is really important. So they explained it to us like this, where your borders will not grow in the ocean. You know how, like, naturally your border growth increases depending on a few factors, but on land your borders will just naturally start to acquire more and more tiles around the, you know, the cities that are on land. That's not the way it works in the ocean cities. Instead, you can move your cities for a certain amount of production. It takes about, like, you know, it depends on how, you know, it depends on a few factors, like the amount of yield that you're generating in that city, but it can take about 4 to 5 turns. I think I started noticing. I am playing on quick difficulty, so I should, or I'm sorry, quick time, so I should mention that. I did that because I wanted to get as far into this campaign, or at least look into as many of the mechanics as I could. But yeah, that's how you can spread out your borders, is by moving your ocean cities, which, you know, of course, there's still that 3 tile limit to be able to work tiles 3 tiles away. I don't know why I explained it like that, but that's still part of this game, just like in Civ 5. But if you want to acquire those tiles, if you want to be able to work that sort of stuff, you got to move the city. And that's something that's really cool for the North Sea Alliance, is that they're able to move their cities twice as fast. And I haven't even jumped into, I don't know if it's twice as fast, something like that. And I haven't even started to jump into the militaristic implications of being able to move your cities. I mean, yeah, I think a lot of you guys can get your imaginations going. The fact that you can move your cities while at war, maybe approaching an enemy, maybe an attacking fleets or navy, and maybe, you know, approaching them head on to get a bonus attack from bombardment of the city itself. So anyways, guys, I'm gonna have to stop right there. If you like this series, please leave a like. It helps out so much. And I'm gonna have to cut it because, like I said, this is a pre-recorded commentary here, but I'm gonna cut it, and I won't let anything pass by. So anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.